Hi, today we're going to talk about what I feel is the missing piece to writing a great novel. Let's go. Hi, my name is Angela and this is AK Hero Writes. This is a channel that I am trying to show my support and hopefully get in communion with other diverse writers and people who read diverse books and anyone who supports the same. And so today I wanted to just share a little bit of what I feel is the missing piece to writing a great novel. I haven't really heard this from other writers, and so maybe they know it intuitively. Obviously, I did not. So I don't know about you, but as I'm writing my first novel, which I have been trying to put together for at least a year, I know it was going to be a slow kind of process because I am learning, right? I'm learning how to write. That takes a little bit of time, and I had to come to terms with that first. You know, reading all the craft books, you know, the usual sort of books. I am going to conferences, getting feedback from beta readers, have joined a couple of writing circles before, you know, all the things, right? Learning authortube, all this stuff. And yesterday I found myself getting really frustrated. What I wanted to come out on the page was not coming out on the page. And so I said, you know what? Take a moment, put the writing away, sit back, relax so that you can get your mind together and come back to it. Well, I did that. And what I started to think about was all the times that I had started a new job and I had started a new educational program. And what I found in those experiences was that I was a person who didn't catch on right away. While I thought I could catch on to writing right away, was counterintuitive, because had I thought about that, yes, I'm going through trying to see what the basic language is for people to understand when it comes to writing, which is, you know, what do most people do so that you can almost talk in the same language, so to speak. And so I did have to find out what a beat was and find out what story structure was and who do you talk to about getting your work reviewed. Where should you go for information about the publishing industry? All of that. And what I found was I was learning that. I was becoming, you know, what I feel was a good technical type of writer, and that is not what I want to be. Yes, I do want people to understand what I'm talking about. I do want people to say, yes, I see the story here, that kind of thing. To me, it just was not enough. And I feel that the same way it took for me to learn those careers, the same thing it took for me to be successful in school, was looking internally inside of myself and saying, what is it that you want? How do you learn? What is it that you understand? And what is unique to this experience that comes from you? And so when I looked at the page, I figured out why I was not getting to the point that I wanted to get at. It's because I had not put myself into the work. Not meaning literally put me as a character or something, but I was not putting the depth of my experience into the work. it was starting to be, and I recognized it immediately, formulaic. I've never been a formulaic person. And when I have tried to be a formulaic person, it didn't work out for me. And so I understand that in this business, you have to be a little formulaic so that people can recognize what it is you're trying to do, or they can pinpoint where you need to improve, or you need to understand the language, right? I need to understand what pacing is. I need to understand what a protagonist is. I need to understand what an arc is. All of that is fine, but after that, I need to go deeper. I would never, ever, ever be satisfied with just the formula. That's not gonna work for me. And so I just wanted to say, if you are a person that has learned in a different way, has had different experiences, have to kind of work things out in your mind without all the noise around, and you better get to it. You better get to doing what works for you. And so I am so appreciative of people who take the time to write the craft books, who take the time to do the craft videos. I am, because it has helped me to learn the language in the industry in a land I'm foreign to, right? I appreciate that. I feel that I am becoming fluent in that. But at the same time, when you go to a different country and you know the language, but you have not stepped your foot into the culture, you have not stepped your foot into the government, I feel like you're doing half the job of becoming a citizen, if you understand what I'm saying. I'll give you an example. I did a African ancestry DNA test because I wanted to learn about my heritage. And so I did a maternal lineage, meaning that they go and they look at your blood to then look at your mother's blood and mother, all the way down that line, right? And they try to go back as far as possible. So when I did this test, which was a few years ago, I did it because I wanted to get that connection. I wanted to get that link. I wanted to know, where do I come from? One, because I'm just an inquisitive person, not gossiping, not nosy, inquisitive. I'm curious, right? So I was thinking about that when I did the African ancestry DNA. And so it comes back and it says, oh, you are from Sierra Leone. Well, that's where your descendants are from. Great. Wonderful. Love the information, right? But then I got to thinking, what do I do with this information now that I have it? How do I connect it to me? So I started to look around, and they have these trips that you can take. And the trips will, introduce you to the culture, introduce you to the country, introduce you to your heritage, right? And part of the trip is that you can become a citizen of the country. So I got to thinking, that's interesting. I could have dual citizenship. It's very appealing to me as a Black woman, okay? I said, but what do I need to know to really become a citizen of that country? And so I got to thinking, well, what do you know here? Well, you need to learn how to speak the language. So I started taking classes to learn what my ancestors would have spoken. Yes, they speak English, but I wanted to learn the African language, which for my tribe would be Temne, Temne. So I'm learning Temne now, right? I started to look at the food. I started to look at their customs with marriage and dating. I started to look at their government. I was very interested in the political election that they recently had. As much as I was interested here for American politics, I was interested there, because if I'm going to be a full citizen, then I need to know as much as possible. I need to immerse myself into that. And so back to writing, I say you're becoming a citizen of the writing community, but are you invested really? Or are you just learning the language to get by? And that is something I do not want to do. I do not want to just learn the language to get by. Yes, I can read Save the Cat all day. I can, read these other books, and that's great. That's getting formula for how to write so someone else can understand the pieces and parts that I'm trying to put together, right? But what I need to bring to that is me. What I need to bring to that is the depths of my feelings, the depths of my experiences. That's what the missing piece is. And in order to do that, I have to be so vulnerable. Now I feel like I'm getting what great writers have mastered. They have mastered themselves. They have mastered knowing their feelings. They have mastered how to portray those feelings so that other people can learn from those feelings. And I know this may sound like, oh my God, how didn't she know that? Hell, I didn't. It wasn't coming to me, right? And I love Fantasy Island, which is a very old show back in the 70s or whatever, but a new version came out, Fantasy Island. Look it up. I bought season 1, and in one of these episodes there was a girl who goes back to 1967, visits her grandfather in Cuba, and she's a musician, she's a percussionist, and he's talking to her and he's saying, hey, I really like the music, but you're very technical, meaning you're not bringing any feel to it. So he takes her out to this place and he says, close your eyes, what do you hear? And she says, I hear the ocean, I hear the people laughing, I hear the cars honking. And to me, that made things click, because it's not just about the technique, right? It's about, what do you hear? What do you feel? Really, honestly, what do you hear and what do you feel and what do you see? And what don't you want to see and what don't you want to hear? And so I knew something was off. I really knew something was off. And now I feel like that is what I'm missing. And so I'm going to get off here because I'm so excited right now to kind of put it to work. And I know it's still going to take me a little while. I'm a baby in this walk, okay? I'm a baby in this walk. But just like I was able to accomplish things in my former career, and I was able to accomplish things in my educational career, and I was able to accomplish things when I became a mother and a grandmother, all of that, you're going to have some ups and downs. It's not going to be easy all the time. It's not going to be hard all the time. But what you have to do when it comes to writing is you're going to have to put yourself in that, or you may never be satisfied. Some people are satisfied with technique. You could probably point those people out. I am not saying their writing is bad. They are masters at technique. But for me, I need to learn the language and I need to learn everything else. I forgot to put in my introduction to this week's channel, but here it is. Thank you for joining me. If you're trying to get your skills up as a writer, if you just want to be in community with other writers, other people, other readers, because I love reading and we will be discussing some books, please take a moment. If you like this video, thumbs it up or whatever they do. Subscribe if you want to come back. I am looking for people who want to be in community, like real community. So if you think that's for you, please come back. Please join me. And again, thank you always. Go do some happy reading and do some wonderful happy writing. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.